Hello, you two. Welcome back to the Langley Academy's primary YouTube page. We're now on to our third video about Mary Seacole. This is about Mary Seacole and her travels. So with your adult, have a quick 2-minute recap of what we've learned so far about Mary Seacole. Have a think about her family, where she was born, and how long ago she was born. Those 3 things are a little bit of a helper where you could take your discussion. Pause the video, have that discussion, and then come back. So in today's lesson, we're going to be thinking about Mary travelling around the world. Thinking about where she started and the 2 main routes that she took which changed her life. First, we need to look at a world map. Here's our world map. The first thing that I've highlighted in purple, you can see my ring here. This is where we live. This is United Kingdom. So we'd be down here at the end of my arrow. You can see down here at the bottom near London, that would be where we would be living. I'm going to draw your attention over to the left-hand side of the map. This side over here, this is where we're going to be looking for where to find Jamaica. Now, if you look really closely in that red circle, Jamaica is a tiny little island in between there. Now, looking at our continents, you might be able to do it from this map. If you're not sure, let's have a look at this map. We can see our continents there. We can see we've got like North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia/Oceania, and Antarctica, apologies. We've got our 7 continents there. Tell your adult, which continent would you say Jamaica is in? You'd be right if you were saying it's in North America. On this map, I've drawn out our two lines, and I've circled 3 places. The first circle I've done is Jamaica, and then I've done an orange line that goes all the way up to the second red circle here. Now, we said the second red circle was London, or the United Kingdom, you're right. This is the first journey, the main first journey that Mary Seacole made. She travelled from Jamaica and she went all the way up to the United Kingdom, to London. She went to London, and we know this from the video. She went there to explore and to also buy new goods and trade that she could take back to Jamaica and explore other islands around there with her new trade items. She made this journey twice. The second journey that she made was in London. She bought another ticket and she went all the way to Crimea. Crimea is a peninsula area at the bottom end of Ukraine. Crimea was a section in the world where there was multiple different countries fighting for the same bit of land. These countries were borders of like Turkey and Russia and Ukraine, and then other countries like the United Kingdom or Britain at the time and got involved. Britain and France that got involved. This war had been going on, and Mary Seacole wanted to make sure that she was right there in the action, helping all the soldiers. So then that's when she took the second journey, which was our purple line going from London all the way to the Crimea. Now, thinking about when Mary Seacole was born, that was over 200 years ago, how do you think she managed to travel these huge distances? Have a talk to your adult and explore some of the modes of transport. Have a look at the map and think about how she got from Jamaica to London and from London to the Crimea. How would she have done that? This was 200 years ago. What mode of transport do you think she would have used? So the mode of transport that Mary Seacole would have used would have been by boat, because that was the only form of transport that you could have to cross over the Atlantic. There wasn't any planes during that time. Have a look at the 4 boats below. Which boat do you reckon it could have been? There's 4 very different boats here. How do you know it's one of these boats? Try and explain why you think it is that boat, and then do your best to explain why the other 3 are incorrect. Why would those other ones be incorrect? Pause the video, have the discussion with your adult, and then continue. So the reason that the boat here in the top right is the correct boat is because we can use our detective knowledge. We can see that all the other pictures are, for a start, they're in colour. That would give us an indication that they're more recently taken. They're a more recent boat. 200 years ago, we wouldn't have had colour pictures. We would have drawings or paintings, and you can see that this top one here is a painting of what a boat would have been like, or a painting of a boat from the 1800s. So that's one of the reasons why this must be the boat. The second reason is you can see on this boat you've got solar panels. That's to harness electricity. We wouldn't have had electricity during 200 years ago, so that means it cannot be that boat. This boat here, this is a rowing boat. Thinking about the distance between Jamaica and London, have a think. Do you think you would be able to row that distance? I think that would almost be an impossible task to row that distance, so that means that it can't be that boat. And this final boat here, you can see it's not only is it looks like it's made of plastic, which would be a material you wouldn't have been able to make during the 1800s, but you've also got a motor on the back, and that motor shows us that it's a more recent boat as well. So again, that wouldn't be the correct boat. It's now time we're going to watch another video that shows some good background of Mary's troubles whilst travelling. So you're going to watch this video, you're then going to come back. It's the same thing as last video. You're going to click on the link. It'll either be the link in the middle of the my video, or it'll be in the top right, or it will be in the first link in the description, to make sure that you can get straight to that video. It's a BBC video that's going to tell you about how Mary Seacole decided she was going to go to London and what she was going to do there, how she may have struggled on her journey. Watch that video, then come back. Okay, well done for watching that video. So in that video, we could see that Mary Seacole encountered quite a lot of difficulty getting there. One of the things that she found on that boat was she was encountering some racism. It meant that she wasn't able to get that first boat over to London because the American white passengers weren't allowing her to get on, because they weren't wanting to be in the same boat area, in the same top deck as her. Well, that was one of the reasons that during the 1800s it was a difficult time for black people, because even though Mary Seacole had white heritage, she was still classified as a black woman, and therefore she wasn't able to have the same rights as the white people. However, we know that Mary was able to travel from Jamaica to London. She got that second boat. She bought a different ticket. She went there. It was her second journey to London. After she'd collected her resources for her selling her trade, she went there again because she wanted to join the Nightingale nurses in the Crimean War. Unfortunately, this is again during the time period where black people weren't seen as good as white people, and we know that that's not correct. However, during that time, Mary Seacole thought that that wasn't a good enough excuse. She was determined. She knew it was the right thing for her to go there because she had all her experiences learned from her mum in Jamaica. So she bought her own ticket and she travelled across the world to get to the Crimean War so that she could assist as a carer in the war. But in 1850, we know that the only way to get there was travelling by boat. So we're going to have a think about the journey time. Travelling from Jamaica to London, if you were to fly on a plane today, it would take you 10 hours. That's nearly half a full day. So it would take you 10 hours to get from Jamaica all the way to London. Now in 1850, you could only travel by boat. So this means it would take you 24 days to get there, non-stop, 24 days. And this wasn't just the exact amount. This used to change. And have a think, when you're on a boat, you've got no motor, how are you propelled across the oceans? How are you propelled? Have a discussion with your adult. So one of the ways that you're propelled, or the only way you were propelled in 1850, was using sails. And the sails would catch the wind, and the wind would blow the boat in the right direction, and you would steer the boat. This would mean that if it was high wind, you would get to your destination quicker. However, if there was not a lot of wind, this 24 days could end up being a lot longer than 24 days. It could be closer to a month, adding on at least 6 extra days because the wind wasn't pushing the boat as far. Her second journey, we know, was from London to Crimea. Now, again, if you were to travel on plane today, you can see it would only take you 3.5 hours. You can see my half there, that's my 1/2. It would only take you 3.5 hours. But if you were in 1850 to travel to the Crimea from London, and you could only travel by boat, this would take you 21 days. And again, just like our traveling from Jamaica to London, this could change. This could be faster time. It could be you could be quicker there, or it could be even slower. It could be up to 30 days. Looking at our map again, you can see that one of the main reasons that Jamaica takes 10 hours for a plane is it's just one big straight line almost from London to Jamaica, but it is quite a distance. However, from London to Crimea, or the Ukraine now, you could fly there in 3.5 hours. But you can see from my purple line shows that Mary Seacole had to travel all the way round these countries, going in and out, swerving in and out, because she can't go straight across these countries. There were borders, there was lots of control. You weren't able to just go in and out of countries without having a purpose of work. So that meant that you had to travel all the way around these countries to get to your destination. So although it's 3 days quicker, it's actually a lot shorter distance if we were to fly there straight away. Our activity today, you're going to be mapping out the distances in which she travelled around the world. We're going to be looking at those two main journeys from Jamaica to London, and then the next one from London to the Crimea. So our learning objective is, can I map out Mary Seacole's main travels in her life? For this, we're going to be using the amount of days to help us draw some arrows or to draw some lines to show the distance. Now, if you don't have a ruler at home, that's absolutely fine. We were going to use some alternative measuring techniques. If you do have a ruler at home, you can measure out 24 centimetres for her journey from Jamaica to London, and you can measure out 21 centimetres from her journey from London to the Crimea, and you can label them to say this was her journey in days and this was her journey in days for both journeys. If you don't have a ruler at home, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to use two different objects that I've found in my house that have a slightly similar length, because 24 and 21 aren't too different, but they need to be different enough for me to be able to visually see. Two objects that I've decided to go for is I've got a toothbrush and I have a pair of scissors. Now, please be careful if you're using scissors, because obviously they can be quite dangerous, but I've found that these two objects are quite similar in length. You can see that my scissors are a little bit longer than my toothbrush. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my toothbrush first, actually, thinking about it, which one is longer? Which one can you see is longer? I've measured them up. It looks to me like the scissors would be the longest one. So out of the two of them, I'm going to choose my longest distance. Now, there was 21 days and 24 days. So my longest distance would be 24 days. So I'm going to draw the distance of these scissors, and I'm going to label it saying that Jamaica to London, 24 days. And this would be the distance. On my piece of paper underneath, I'm going to get my toothbrush, and I'm going to draw out the distance from one end to the other. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write from London to the Crimea. This was a 21-day journey. You need to be pushing yourself for this. So you can just find any two objects. It's okay if they're a little bit different, it's fine, but the main aspect is you labeling her main two journeys. So you can see that her first journey was from Jamaica to London. We know that was 24 days. So you can write down a sentence saying that her first journey was from Jamaica to London. This took around 21 days. Use your thread fingers to help you hold that sentence. Use your adult to help you try out your sentence and then get it down written, and then move on to the next drawing, which will be your next arrow or your next line. And I used my next item, which was my toothbrush, and that would be 21 days. So I know that from Mary Seacole travelled from London to the Crimea, and that took 21 days. That would be my sentence that I'd write underneath. I know it's not quite perfect, but don't worry, we're trying our best with what we do have. So if you don't have a ruler, that's absolutely fine. I've shown you that you can do it without a ruler. Make sure you're doing these activities at home and posting them to Tapestry online so that I can see and I can track it onto your profile so that you're learning from home. It's as if we're at school now. Thank you very much for coming to this lesson. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.